What if I told you that a single habit, one simple shift in your daily life, could unlock everything you've ever wanted? Wealth, love, success, happiness, all within your reach. Neville Goddard taught a powerful truth. Your inner conversations create your reality. Master this, and your world will transform forever. Your inner conversations shape your life in ways you may not yet fully understand. Every thought, every whispered word within your mind is a seed planted in the soil of your reality. The quality of those seeds determines the fruit that life bears for you. You may not be consciously aware of it, but the way you talk to yourself, your beliefs, your silent arguments, your expectations, creates the world you experience. It is not circumstances that dictate your reality, but your habitual thinking, your unbroken chain of inner speech. Neville Goddard taught that all that happens to you is an echo of your internal conversations. If you constantly replay doubts, fears, and frustrations, your life will reflect those states. You will meet people who validate your negative assumptions. You will encounter obstacles that seem to justify your fears. But when you shift your inner dialogue, when you deliberately direct your thoughts to align with what you desire, everything changes. The key is understanding that your inner world is the blueprint, and your external world is merely a reflection. If you believe that success is difficult, that money is scarce, that love is elusive, then your world will prove you right. Your subconscious mind takes your habitual thoughts as commands. It does not question whether they serve you, it simply obeys. This is why changing your inner conversations is not just beneficial, it is essential. You must speak to yourself as the person who already possesses what you seek. Instead of lamenting over your struggles, affirm that you are abundant, that you are loved, that you are successful. This is not mere positive thinking. It is a principle of creation. Neville taught that the world responds not to idle wishes, but to the assumption of already being. If you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, reality has no choice but to conform. It must mirror the state you have inwardly accepted. The law is precise, unwavering. Your state of consciousness determines what manifests. You might argue that external conditions dictate your emotions, that it is hard to feel abundant when struggling financially, that it is difficult to feel loved when alone. But this is an illusion. The sequence is not cause and effect in the way most believe. It is not that external conditions generate feelings. It is that feelings generate external conditions. What you feel inwardly, consistently, and with conviction projects outwardly. The process is subtle but absolute. Begin by observing your inner dialogue. Most people live unaware of the thoughts that occupy their minds. They move through life on autopilot, repeating the same mental loops, unaware that these loops are responsible for their recurring circumstances. Pay attention to what you say to yourself. Do you encourage or criticize? Do you imagine success or anticipate failure? Are you your own supporter or your own adversary? Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you recognize the patterns, do not fight them. Simply replace them. If you catch yourself thinking, "I am always struggling," shift to, "I am finding new opportunities every day." If you habitually say, "Nothing ever works out for me," replace it with, "Things are always unfolding in my favor." This is not about denying reality, it is about choosing which reality to nourish. The energy you invest in thought takes form. Your relationships, too, are shaped by your inner conversations. If you expect conflict, resentment, or rejection, you will unknowingly provoke those experiences. Your assumptions about people influence how they respond to you. If you mentally argue with someone, if you see them as difficult or unkind, they will reflect that perception. Change your inner dialogue, and you will change the way they interact with you. Neville shared the story of a woman who struggled with her employer, believing him to be harsh and unappreciative. She realized that her inner conversations with him were filled with silent arguments, resentment, and a belief in his unfairness. The moment she changed her mental dialogue, imagining him praising her, thanking her, treating her with kindness, his behavior transformed. He became the very person she had imagined. This principle applies universally. The world echoes your inner speech. If you wish to be loved, speak as one who is loved. If you desire wealth, speak as one who already possesses abundance. The moment you internalize this truth, you become the conscious creator of your experience. Many hesitate, doubting whether such a simple shift can bring real change. But consider how powerfully the mind shapes experience. Have you ever noticed how when you expect something to go wrong, it often does? How when you dread an outcome, it manifests almost inevitably? This is not coincidence, it is causation. Your imagination fuels the experiences that unfold. The moment you shift from reactive thinking to deliberate inner conversation, you reclaim control. At night, as you drift into sleep, your subconscious is most receptive. This is the perfect time to impress upon it your chosen reality. Instead of replaying worries, consciously construct an inner dialogue that affirms your desired state. Hear in your mind the voices that would confirm your success. Imagine the conversations that would take place if your dreams were already realized. Fall asleep dwelling in that assumption. Persistence is key. A single thought does not create a new reality, just as a single drop does not form an ocean. But sustained inner speech, repeated with conviction, accumulates power. Over time, your world must reflect your dominant inner state. This is not speculation, it is law. Doubt may arise, especially in the beginning. The mind is conditioned by years of habitual thinking. But the moment you catch yourself slipping into old patterns, gently redirect. No battle is needed, only persistence. The shift from negative to positive inner conversation is the shift from victimhood to mastery. Understand that your present circumstances are the result of past thinking. They are not permanent, they are not final. They are simply the product of previous mental habits. The moment you change your assumptions, your world begins to reconfigure itself to match. Neville often emphasized that we must live from the end. To live from the end means to think, feel, and act as though your desire is already fulfilled. Not to wish for it, but to embody it. Not to wait for evidence, but to become the evidence. Imagine someone who has already achieved what you seek. How do they think? How do they move through the world? What do they say to themselves? Align your inner dialogue with that state, and it must externalize. This is the only way the law operates. If you desire health, speak and think as one who is already well. If you desire love, carry within you the certainty that you are cherished. If you seek financial success, let your thoughts align with abundance. Whatever you persistently assume becomes your reality. Resistance will appear. Old patterns may resurface. Doubt may whisper that nothing is changing, but do not be deceived by appearances. The outer world is always a delayed reflection of inner transformation. Stay the course. Persist in your new inner speech, and the world will conform. Many seek change, but refuse to change within. They attempt to alter external conditions while maintaining the same internal state. This is futile. The only true shift comes from within. The only lasting transformation begins in thought. Your inner conversations are your life's script. They dictate the events, relationships, and circumstances that unfold. You are not a spectator in this world. You are its author. Every word you speak within shapes the reality you live without. The question is no longer whether this is true, but whether you will apply it. Will you take command of your inner speech? Will you discipline your mind to align with your desires? Will you consciously create rather than unconsciously react? If you do, everything will change. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. The law that governs all creation. What you whisper within, the world will shout back to you.